sounds like the ventilator's a bit off. Shame. It sent a lovely whiff of joy into the air. Terribly sorry about the telly in there. People keep stepping on the cable. Oh, we're back again. Hello there. You must be the winner of the Uncle Jack Fan Club's Get to Know Jack contest. At least I hope you are. Well, the bobbies at the front door have been very sloppy indeed. As you know, I'm Uncle Jack, and I'm always happy to meet my fans, especially if they can help me. Over on your right, you'll see the news feeding machine. That's how you feed me the news stories I'm supposed to read. To your right. Your right. You'll see 3 news stories to choose from. Do try to give me a happy one, won't you? Some of the writers get a little mischievous. You can only feed me news after I finish reading the preview story. The machine will light up to tell you when to send me more. Isn't technology wonderful? You'll have to wait for me to finish the story I'm reading before you send me another one. You wouldn't want me to get muddled, would you? No, of course not. Just press the send button below the news story you want and whoosh, it will magically appear on my teleprompter. Be sure to hit these. Oh, splendid. I'm sure you'll do a smashing job producing my show today. Just remember that we only want to see good news. Fortunately, all the news at Right World is good. Here we go. On in 5, 4, 3.
And now for the Good News Hour with Uncle Jack. That's me, Jack Worthing. I'll give you all the good news you need to start your day with a smile. Some people have noticed that the happier they get, the less they can do. If this is you, not to worry. You're just overdosing on joy. When you've had a little too much joy, about all you can really do is laugh and skip and run and play and wait till your joy comes down to a normal level. In the meantime, enjoy the pink chimney smoke and the lovely music that alarms make when they go off. And the jolly laughs that the bobbies make when they're protecting us from downers. Inspector Royston Luckenbill reminds the public that the alleged murderer, known as Foggy Jack, does not exist. No, he's just a fairy tale, states Inspector Luckenbill, and we all know how horrible those are. There are definitely no victims found in the street in the morning with certain organs surgically removed. No. And even if there were, what on earth were those people doing out after dark, eh? Everyone except the constables should be at home listening to Uncle Jack's bedtime stories. I'm sure that the girls in question were just running carelessly with scissors. Oh, yes, well, as we all know, one can't be too careful doing arts and crafts, can one? No. Wasn't it a lovely idea for the Uncle Jack Fan Club to have a contest to be my producer? If only they'd done it on merit instead of a random drawing. Well, we can't have everything, can we? Let's see what we have here. Oh, dear. Constable Winslow has solved the mystery of the large pig spotted behind the King's Arms last Friday night. Well, I'm afraid we're not going to get any bacon this time, no. It turns out it was only Jim Dixon. It turns out it was only Jim Dixon attempting to find his keys in the alley. At least that's what Jim said he was doing. And we're all sure that Jim wasn't drunk at all, was he? Remember, joy can make you look at things a little hopefully. So if you're not sure, there's no harm in asking a friend if he's seeing the same thing you are. Next card. As you know, Uncle Jack, that's me, is a happy-go-lucky sort of chap. I don't ask for much. As long as I have my joy and a competent producer, I'm a very happy man. Here's a bit of a funny story. For many years, Mrs. Valerie Fothergill and Mrs. Mia Fothergill believed they had the same last name because they were cousins. Well, last Thursday, however, they discovered that it is because they're married to the same man. According to Constable John Constable, these days, with their happy faces on, a lot of men look quite similar, he says. Well, you've got to hand it to him, don't you? Mr. Fothergill has been arraigned before the municipal court on 1 count of bigamy. Well, I suppose that's 2 counts of monogamy, eh? Well, they don't say which missus gets to keep him. But if you've also married Mr. Fothergill, please don't hesitate to drop Jack Worthing a line. That's me. Next card. The legendary Simon Says contest at the Church of St. Genesius is back on! Yes! And the pop star Nick Lightbearer will be their celebrity caller. Mr. Lightbearer has become reclusive of late. His Christmas concert ended abruptly last year when the singer broke down in tears of joy and, well, he was unable to continue, even after fans appreciatively threw kitchen scraps on stage. His managers assure the singer's loyal fans that he no longer has the very bad cold that caused the rest of his concert series to be cancelled. Oh, that was a bit of excitement, wasn't it? Well, I'm afraid we've come to the end of our time, yes. Our producer did a pretty swell job for a fan, don't you think, eh?
Well, wasn't that exciting? I do wish you could be here, dear viewers. It looks like somebody's having a party in the visitors' gallery. There are so many happy, excited people there. So many. Perhaps somebody ought to check in and, well, make sure that they're not breaking anything. People tend to get carried away sometimes, don't they? Do you know what makes a party even better? Why, joy, of course. Yes, I bet we'd all have an even better time if somebody would just flood the visitors' gallery with joy, right? You can never be too careful. Any time now? Yes, just fire up an old ventilation system and spread the joy all around. Just like old Scrooge at Christmas. Yeah. And wouldn't you all love a nice Christmas turkey about now? You know, almost anything to be a Christmas turkey with enough joy. Seriously, if somebody would just do whatever it is that you do to turn on the joy in the ventilators. Nice to hear that lovely joy gas through the ventilator.
Under your smile,
No one really was having this time.
don't be afraid, all you gotta do is run. 'Cause when we were young,
Nice, everybody took nice.
we just a child, and we start to all we do is smile. Let's try a stranger on for a while. Something could change for a brand
And it's another fabulous day in Wellington Wells. The sun is out, and the weather is overcast and only slightly rainy, with occasional patches of lovely sunshine. Wakey, wakey, everyone. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, dear friends. Good morning to you. Well, I hope you all had a lovely night's sleep with lovely dreams. It's shaping up to be a wonderful morning, and I think I can promise you that it's just going to get better all through the day. We all forget things from time to time, so don't forget the most important thing. Is it your tea? Is it your muesli? Is it bacon and eggs? Is it toast? Did you forget to butter your toast? No, don't be silly. It's your daily joy. Never forget to take your joy, and I guarantee your day will go swimmingly. So, let's take a look at today's schedule. What's going on in the village of Hamlin? Well, chatting and greeting and smiling and laughing, of course, and breakfast, lunch and dinner, and work. But at 3, I hope you'll all take a quick break for our daily recreational activity. Today we will all gather round the telly for a rousing round of Simon Says. Well, I won't be gathering round the telly. I'll be in the telly. Just like every day, I'll be playing it with you. And then there'll be cake and prizes for all winners, and everyone's a winner, and everyone will be there. So don't miss it, or you're a rotten egg. But seriously, unless you have an awfully good reason, such as 2 broken legs, do be a sport at 3 o'clock, won't you? We love your company. And now, the hot new song from our favourite band. See you soon.
Truth is the enemy of happiness. Isn't that the decision we all made?
Oh, but you know the truth, don't you? There's not a thing I can tell you that you don't already know. Is there?
Have you had your joy, Ollie?
People in town are getting a tad bit skinny. I think they're starving to death. And they're painting the streets in fucking rainbows. Have you not noticed?
Oh, Ollie.
Why are you all wearing those ridiculous new masks?
You should get one. They shape your face into a smile. And when you smile, you can't help being happy.
We have to tell people. They need to know the truth.
No! It's better not to know.
Wakey, wakey, everyone. And it's another fabulous day in Wellington Wells. Do what you should be doing, and you never have to worry.
Sally?
Arthur, we're practically the only 2 people in this entire city not stoned out of our minds on joy.
It's not a lovely day for it. It's a fucking terrible day for it.
If you force people to have the emotions you want, then you've turned them into robots made out of meat.
Where is it? Where's the blackberry?
You've gone too far this time.
People won't face facts. Not until we take their joy. And when we do that, they'll murder each other in the street.
Hello. Welcome to today's edition of Humor Hour, the show where you tell me jokes. Well, actually, I tell the jokes, but you send them in. And the first joke comes from Mr. Prentice Gibson of Clapperton Town. Mr. Gibson says, what do you call three downers at the bottom of the sea? Not enough downers. Very good. We're starting off very strong today, aren't we? This one is from Brian E. Ditton of Collier's Lane. What's the difference between a downer and a trampoline? You take off your shoes before you jump on a trampoline. How true! How very true! I mean, you don't want to damage a perfectly good trampoline, do you? Very good indeed. This is from Mrs. Jemima Hughes of Coronation Avenue. And her joke is, if you see a drowning downer, what do you throw him? I don't know, a brick, an anvil? Well, no, you can't very well throw an anvil, can you? What about a grenade? No. Who has grenades these days? Answer, another downer! I told you it was good. That's wonderful. It's very good. You see, they both drown. Here's another one. How do you save a drowning downer? Answer, who cares? Very good. Lovely jokes. Lovely jokes today. Very funny indeed. And here's one from, not that one, no, this one here. It's from Clive Pritchard of Sladebrook Road. Mr. Pritchard, what do you have for us today? Question. How is a puppy like a mortally wounded downer? Answer. Eventually they'll both stop whining. Oh, Mr. Pritchard, you're quite a character, aren't you? Oh. You know, I miss my dog. What am I saying? I don't miss anything at all. I've got it all right here. Let's see what else we've got. Yes, we have something from our dear friend and faithful contributor, Mr. Persky Blackyoung. Yes, as you can tell from his name, Mr. Blackyoung isn't actually a real Englishman. He's an Afrikaner from South Africa, but he's doing his patriotic best to fit in. So, what do you have for us today, Mr. Blackyoung? Question. How is a downer like an apple? Answer. They both look good hanging from a tree. I'm not sure I get it. Oh, I see. Yes, very good. Hanging from a tree. Here's another one. What's the difference between a downer and a black plague? Well, one is a deadly organism that can destroy an entire city, and the other is a bacterium. Oh, very good. Well, I think it's going to be hard to top that one, but we must slog on, eh? It's one of our greatest English virtues. I have one here from Mr. Thomas Henchley of Longbottom Circle. What have you got for us, Mr. Henchley? Question. Why do we bury downers 20 feet underground? Answer. Because deep down, they're really nice people. Deep down, yeah. I think that's the best one of all. It really is. Very good. Remember, no one has to be a downer, but if you feel a bit down, take your joy. And if you see someone who seems a bit down, make sure he takes his joy. It's as simple as that. Happiness is a choice, and those who won't choose it are a threat to the rest of us. If you hear a good joke, please don't hesitate to drop a note marked Humour Hour at our studio, 2 Marlborough House, in central Wellington Wells. Yes, I'm afraid we've come to the end of our time. Tune in again next time for the best in humour. See you soon.
Oh, heavens no. Oh, God.
It's very dangerous to put your hand outside the windows of the train.
I should just take my joy, shouldn't I? Percy! Percy!
What have you been up to? No one's seen you for hours.
Oh, nose to the grindstone, you know.
Then why haven't I heard a single whoosh through the door since 10 o'clock? Did you forget we're having Deirdre's birthday party?
Oh.
We've got a piñata.
Right. Brilliant. Of course.
Have you forgotten your joy?
Of course not. Snug as a bug on a drug.
Well, come on then, finish up.
Just have a few more pages. I know you're very busy.
Then don't take too long to finish. Well, I expect you in the conference room presently. Don't dawdle. You don't want to miss the piñata.
Wasn't Prudence supposed to be coming back today? I made her a welcome back card. Do you think the canister wonders what life's like outside the tube? Of course, he'd have to break the tube to get out. Well, that would break it for everybody. I'm back, are you, Prue? But where did she go? We seem to be a bit behind in our work.
Only you know how much you need. Or just ask a doctor and he'll fix you right up. Even if you've got to ask. But look, there are some things that
There you are. You nearly missed the piñata. It's the most adorable Spanish custom. Uncle Jack did a whole show about it. You smash it until all the candy comes out. Come on, hit it! Hit it! Hit it!
Give it a whack!
Hit it! Hit it! You are off your joy. Take one of mine. Oh, my lord. He's a downer. Call security. We've got a downer.
worlds come to life when I'm by your side, like the way it begun.
And now, it's time for I Hear You, the part of our show where Jack Worthing, that's me, answers your letters and questions about our life in Wellington Wells. And today's first letter is from Charles Hawtrey of St. James Parade. Dear Uncle Jack, I always get eliminated early in Simon Says. It's so frustrating because I love Simon Says and I don't get to play very much of it before I get confused and I'm out. What can I do? Well, Charles, I'm so glad you care about Simon Says. It's one of my favourite games, as you probably know. In fact, sometimes I wish someone would come and be the announcer so I could come to Hamlin and play Simon Says. Say, what a lovely idea. Why don't you come here and I'll go there? Ah, yes, but that doesn't solve your problem, does it? How can you enjoy Simon Says better? Well, I can't promise you a way to be less confused. After all, a bit of confusion is normal when you're taking your joy, and you don't want to cut down on your joy, do you? No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. But look, just because you're out doesn't mean you can't keep playing. Just go to the sidelines and keep playing. After all, no one's going to arrest you for continuing to wave your arms around when I say wave your arms around, eh? I mean, when I say Simon Says move your arms around, right? Good. Well, I hope that's helpful, Charles. And thank you very much for writing. Here's another letter from Mrs. Gillian Overshaw of St. Giles Crescent. Mrs. Overshaw writes, Dear Uncle Jack, I found the most peculiar thing in my garden. Perhaps you can help me identify it. It has the general shape of a garden gnome. That is, it is short and squat and has a rounded, pointy top, just like a gnome's pointy hat. But it's smooth and metal, and nothing is painted on it. What is it? Should I make it into a lamp? If I get the hat off, it would make a perfect umbrella stand. I think I can get the hat off if I heat up the bottom part in the fireplace. What do you think? Oh, well, Mrs. Overshaw, I think what you might have here is an unexploded artillery shell. So, no, my dear, I would not particularly recommend heating it up in the fireplace. In fact, I would recommend not touching your garden gnome any further. Especially, do not drop it or drop anything on it. Now, if any of the heroes of the Home Army are listening to this broadcast, and I know some of you are, would you mind dropping by Mrs. Gillian Overshaw's place at 25 St. Giles Crescent and help her in disposing of this rather peculiar garden gnome? Thank you. There's a good chap. Well, this one is from Mrs. Susan Brimble of Northumberland Passage. Dear Mr. Worthing. Oh, Susan. There's no need to be so formal. You can call me Jack, or Uncle Jack. But don't call me Mr. Worthing, because that's my father. And definitely don't call me Mrs. Worthing. Anyway, dear Mr. Worthing, my husband stays a really long time in the bath. He comes home after work and immediately runs a bath. and he stays in it until it's time for dinner. Sometimes he even stays in there after I tell him it's time for dinner. Last night, I even brought him his dinner in the bath, and he left it there on the side of the sink. What's a wife to do? Well, Susan, or Sue. May I call you Sue? I'd like to think I can call you Sue. Susan, I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV. But I do know some doctors, and I asked them about your husband. They think your husband might just need a little more joy in his life. He seems to be trying to soak it in through his skin, and, well, that takes a very long time, and it'll turn him into a prune. So please be sure that your husband pops a joy or two when he wakes up, and a joy or two before he goes to bed. And I think you'll be seeing a lot more of them in a considerably drier state. There are very few problems that joy won't make better. All right, Susie? Good. Well, I'm afraid we've come to the end of our time. Tune in again tomorrow for more cheery answers to your questions about your life in Wellington Wells. This is Jack Worthing saying cheerio, and on with your day. I'll see you soon.
And that was a peek at the exciting new game, We Happy Few. And it's all set in our very own city, Wellington Wells. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to have with us here in the studio the creative director of We Happy Few. Please welcome Mr. Guillaume Provost.
Thanks for having me on the show, Jack.
Tell me, Gwillem, why make a game all about us?
Well, we like England.
Yes?
We like the 60s.
Oh, yes?
We love dystopia.
Dystopia? More like utopia, because, well, let's face it, we're all so happy here. Do you know the secret behind the famous Wellington Wells smile? Well, it's the miraculous little pill, ingeniously called joy. And it helps us forget anything bad that might have happened to us. And life is just wonderful every day.
Yeah, so back in the war, when the Germans invaded England and...
What an imagination this fellow has. What an imagination. Of course, none of us had to do anything terrible when the Germans were here. No. At least, I can't remember anything. Can you?
Right, so as the player, you're not actually taking joy. You're off your meds. You're trying to escape the city before it all comes crashing down on you.
That sounds awful. Why would anybody stop taking their happy pills? Do you know what we call people who don't take their joy? Downers, Jason. And do you know what we do with downers? They give them a jolly good thrashing until they take their joy. That's what we do.
In the game, you actually play as a downer. And as you roam around the city, you get to explore its lore and history. And you discover how it got to be the way that it is.
I believe you brought a clip.
That's right, we brought a clip.
Roll the clip.
Clip, clip.
I remember now. You came back from the station. The only one.
You don't think they hurt him, Percy?
The Germans aren't animals, you know. They just wanted to make sure we stay quiet. And we did. Spot of tea.
What a funny man.
You see, the people in We Happy Few aren't zombies. They just have peculiar expectations about how you should be. So if you walk down the street, smiling at everyone and wishing them a lovely day for it, everything will be perfectly fine. In a way, it's like hiding in plain sight. But if you do things that gamers normally do, like breaking into someone's home or wielding a bloody cricket bat on the street, the people are going to get very upset.
Yes, that is something that we frown upon here.
Now, you see, the problem is if you don't break the rules, you're probably going to starve. You are going to starve. You're definitely starving.
And if you do break the rules, people will beat you to a bloody pulp, won't they?
Which is why, as a last resort, you can always take a pill.
Well, why not as a first resort? Everybody loves it.
Jack, you'll overdose.
Well, what's wrong with a little overdose? I mean, so you forget where everything is, but then, brilliant, you've got a brand new town to explore.
When you die, and in We Happy Few, you'll die a lot, we generate a brand new city for you from scratch. From the topology of the terrain to the road arteries and the houses that fill up those networks, and the people that live in them, we generate a brand new journey for you to experience each time you start a new game.
Gwyneth, why don't you make a game all about the wonderful citizens of Wellington Wells beating downers senseless, you know, and then cramming joy down their throat, eh?
Cheer up, you bastard.
Yes.
Take it from Jack Worthing. That's me. We're talking smash hit. Anything else you'd like to tell our audience?
Yes, actually. We worked really hard on this game, and we're always on the lookout for more feedback. So if you like the project, or you want to see more of Uncle Jack, come join us. Help us make this game.
And I'm afraid we've come to the end of our time. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Jeffrey Porpoise, the creative director of We Happy Few. Stay tuned for my cooking show. That tastes amazing. What is it? This is Jack Worthing wishing you another fabulous day in Wellington Wells. First time in the telly?
Yes.
You were a bit stiff at first, but I think you warmed up and I think you did really well.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. I really like those trousers. Be on my stool. If anybody needs me.
And now, it's time for our daily recreational activity, the show where you're the star. Come on, everyone. It's time for everyone to get out of the street and find a telly to watch. This game is so much more fun with all of your friends and fellow citizens. Today is a very special episode of our favorite Simon Says. Have you ever wondered if you're ready in case the Germans ever came back? Would you know how to defend yourself against the marauding Bosch? Are you ready? All right. Now let's play Simon Says. Ha ha! Yeah, I didn't say Simon Says. You all know the rules, don't you? I'm going to tell you to do something, but if I don't say Simon Says, you don't do it. If I do say Simon Says, yes, you do it. All right. Is everybody ready? You there. Are you ready? Oh, you are. Yes, that's the Wellington Wells spirit. Everybody give him a hand. Good. No. I didn't say Simon Says. All right, then. Now, what I want everyone to get themselves a weapon. Cricket, bat, or a crowbar, anything like that. And if all you have is a banana, well, that's fine. Actually, if you do have a banana, just drop it here at the station and I'll swap you for it for a slightly used mallet. Good. Simon Says, raise your weapon. Simon Says, swing right. Simon Says, swing left. Simon Says, swing right. Ha ha, yes. I can see I already got a few people out there. If you swung left, then you're out. The Germans got you. Fall to the ground, eviscerated. I'm just joking. You can never be too careful. All right, then. Simon Says, swing left. Simon Says, swing right. Simon Says, lunge. Simon Says, parry. Lunge. Ah! Yes, you. You're out. Remember, the lunge is your finishing blow. Save it for when your enemy's on his back foot, no matter what Simon says. Did you lunge? You were supposed to. I did say Simon Says, you see. I just said it in bits. Yes, so you and you're out. Simon Says, you're out. Very good. You're all beautiful. Yes.
Go on, give it to me. Simon says, give it to me. Yes, yes, very good. Simon says, take a step forward. Simon says, take a step back. Simon says, swing right. Simon says, swing left. Simon says, finishing blow. Step back. Simon says, shout. Yes. Simon says, raise your weapon. Simon says, have fun. You're all doing brilliantly. Very good. Simon says, jump. Simon says, parry. Simon says, dodge. Simon says, lunge. Simon says, victory beat is wonderful. Captain says, swing left. Ha ha. I didn't say Simon says. Simon says, don't do the next thing I say. Simon says, jump. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Simon says, run in circles. Simon says, stay in place. Simon says, lunge. Lovely. Simon says, sing Rule Britannia. Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. Good. Simon says, swing right. Simon says, swing left. Simon says, swing right. Ah! You there. Simon says, run along. Go on. All right. Simon says, fall down. Simon says, get up. Simon says, roll over. Simon says, stand up. Brilliant. Simon says, do everything I do, I shouted, even if I don't say Simon says. Swing right. Swing left. Swing low. Swing chariot. Lunge. Lunge. Again, lunge. Again, step forward. Right. Left. Right. Lunge. Lunge. Yes, finish him. Fatality. Oh, yes. That was terrific. Very, very good. I hope you all had a fantastic time. Oh, dear. I trust you all brought cake because I did, and I did promise cake, and I hate to be a liar. Well, I'm afraid the game is over. Simon says, spin. Simon says, now the game is over. And Simon says, I hope you all enjoyed yourself immensely. I certainly did. We've come to the end of our time. Tune in again next time for another rousing daily recreational activity. Thank you all for playing.
And now, it's time for I Hear You, the part of our show where Jack Worthing, that's me, answers your letters and questions about our life in Wellington Wells. And today's... Well, it's getting late, isn't it? It's time for all good citizens to be getting ready to go to bed. Would you like me to read you a bedtime story? Of course you would. I haven't finished the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Well, gather round, citizens, gather round. I'll tell you how it ends. We last left Goldilocks fast asleep in the Three Bears' house. She's eaten Jane Bear's porridge and made a mess of the dining room and the bedroom, and she's still asleep in Jane Bear's bed. Well, soon enough, the Three Bears came home from their walk through the forest. They hadn't found many berries, just enough to flavour their porridge and keep them from getting scurvy, but they were looking forward to breakfast. But when they came into their dining room, they could see that something was not quite right. Henry Bear saw that there was a spoon sitting in the middle of his porridge. "Someone's been at my porridge," he said in his great big gruff bear voice. And then old Edward Bear saw that there was a spoon in his bowl of porridge. "And someone's been at my porridge too," said old Edward Bear. And Jane Bear looked at her bowl, and she was very upset. "Someone's been at my porridge too, and they ate it all up." Well, she was very upset indeed, for now she'd nothing to eat except for a few berries. Well, Henry Bear and old Edward Bear each gave her some of their porridge. But now they were all very hungry, because none of them had had enough to eat. And bears need to eat a lot of food when they can, because they know that winter is coming, and there won't be anything to eat. Since they hadn't had enough to eat, it
to rest a bit, because a sleep is a poor man's dinner. But when they got to the bedroom, old Edward Bear looked at his bed and saw how the covers had been thrown on the floor. And he said, "Someone's been lying in my bed." And Henry Bear looked at his bed and saw how the covers had all been rumpled, and he said, "Aye, and someone's been lying in my bed and all." And Jane Bear looked at her bed, and at first it looked like it was still neatly made. But then she saw Goldilocks. "And someone's been lying in my bed," she shrieked, "and she's still there." At that, Goldilocks woke up with a start, and she saw the three bears staring at her, and she screamed, "Get out! Get out, all of you! Get out of my house!" Maybe because she thought she was in her own house, or maybe she thought that she could take the bear's house from them if she could scream loud enough. So Henry Bear hit her with his big bear claw and knocked her head clean off her shoulders. Oh. They felt much better. Then they ate the rest of her, tore her apart and ate her. They felt very good indeed, because now they had enough to eat. And all three of them lived happily ever after. And Goldilocks, she never bothered them again. And the moral of the story is, don't go wandering round at night, or you might get killed. Well, that's the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. What a wonderful story. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading it. And I'm afraid we've come to the end of our time. Tune in again tomorrow for another bedtime story. This is Jack Worthing telling you to have a lovely night and pleasant dreams. See you tomorrow.
La
Wow.
Oh dear. That sounds like the ventilator's a bit off. Shame. It sent a lovely whiff of joy into the air. Terribly sorry about the telly in there. People keep stepping on the cable. Oh. We're back again. Hello there. You must be the winner of the Uncle Jack Fan Club's Get to Know Jack contest. At least I hope you are. Well, the bobbies at the front door have been very sloppy indeed. As you know, I'm Uncle Jack, and I'm always happy to meet my fans, especially if they can help me. Over on your right, you'll see the news feeding machine. That's how you feed me the news stories I'm supposed to read. To your right. Your right. You'll see 3 news stories to choose from. Do try to give me a happy one, won't you? Sometimes the writers get a little mischievous. You can only feed me news after I finish reading the preview story. The machine will light up to tell you when to send me more. Isn't technology wonderful? You'll have to wait for me to finish the story I'm reading before you send me another one. You wouldn't want me to get muddled, would you? No, of course not. Just press the send button below the news story you want and whoosh, it will magically appear on my teleprompter. Be sure to hit the send button, otherwise I won't get the news story. Oh dear, you didn't send me any news stories. Please send news, or I shall have to do magic tricks, and I don't know any. On in 5, 4, 3.
And now it's time for the Good News Hour with Uncle Jack. Hey, that's me, Jack Worthing. I'll give you all the news you need to start your afternoon with a smile. Feel free. My producer, who is catching on fast, has handed me another lovely news article. Cucumber lovers, rejoice. Executive Committee member Beatrice Sackville announced that negotiations with the farmers across the bridge have been entirely successful, and we can expect new boxes of vegetables any day now. We'll have cucumbers in time for the lawn tennis championships. Oh, goody. I just adore a good cucumber sandwich, don't you? Next card, please. I hope you didn't miss the excitement at Simon Says this week. Our weekly competition was, it was just reaching fever pitch when alert Hamiltonians noted a squad of wastrels from over the bridge attempting to burgle a house. Well, the hue and cry went up and the entire village chased these malcontents into the river. Alas, nobody could remember who was still playing, but, well, wasn't everybody a winner? Another card. Did you hear a loud explosion last week? Do you remember how the... Sinkhole? Scargill? Oh, dear. Well, it seems that some citizens in the vicinity of the Scargill Mines facility heard what seemed at first to be a loud explosion. Perhaps my producer was mining supervisor for that day. That seems to be par for the course, doesn't it? Just kidding. There's no need to worry, everyone. It seemed that those jolly miners were just testing their fireworks for the annual Victory Day celebrations and set off fireworks and sparklers and all sorts of things. What a lot of scamps those chaps are. The company naturally apologizes sincerely for any alarm the noise may have caused. But I, for one, can't wait to see the fireworks. And speaking of fiery things, I'm feeling a bit warm today. You might say I'm hot under the collar. You know, sometimes you can be on so much joy that you don't even notice that you're reading bad news because everything is so rosy. Maybe that's what happened to my producer for the day. Next card. One of the lovely things about joy is that it helps you tolerate people who are a bit thick at first. Because eventually they get it, don't they? And what a relief when they do. So, back to the news. Mrs. Helen Dainty offers a reward to anyone returning her beloved cat Sebastian, who went missing at the village picnic. Sebastian can be recognized by his adorable pointy face, pink eyes, long hairless tail, yellow teeth, and jaunty pink bow. He sounds like an adorable kitty, doesn't he? If you see Sebastian, please catch him and return him to Miss Dainty at Thomasina House. Don't eat him. No, that would be rude. Oh, that was a bit of excitement, wasn't it? Well, I'm afraid we've come to the end of our time. Yes. Our producer did a pretty swell job for a fan, don't you think, eh?
Well, wasn't that exciting? I do wish you could be here, dear viewers. Well, it looks like somebody's having a party in the visitors' gallery. There are so many happy, excited people there. So many. Perhaps somebody ought to check in and, well, make sure that they're not breaking anything. People tend to get carried away sometimes, don't they? Do you know what makes a party even better? Why, joy, of course. Yes, I bet we'd all have an even better time if somebody would just flood the visitors' gallery with joy, right? You can never be too careful. Any time now. Yes, just fire up the old ventilation system and spread the joy all around. Just like old Scrooge at Christmas. Yeah. And wouldn't we all love a nice Christmas turkey about now? You know, almost anything could be a Christmas turkey with enough joy. Seriously, if somebody would just do whatever it is that you do to turn on the joy in the ventilators. Nice to hear that lovely joy gas hissing through the ventilator. The waves of the shore.
Under your smile.
No one really wants that little silence.
Don't be afraid, all you gotta do is run. 'Cause when we were young,
Everybody took a nice.
we just a child.